Oh, good morning, church family. We are excited for this time together with you. For 150 years, Fifth Avenue Baptist has laid a foundation for many. As I look out and see many of you, I know what kind of history you've had with this great church. And for many, it is where our faith journey began and continues. If you've read the Blue Book by Irene Band that was written for our 100th anniversary, you know what a great run it has been for this church. 50 years ago, as Eric sort of told you, for our 100th anniversary, Peggy Cyrus, our Sally O's mother, wrote a poem about our history. And it went from the founding in 1872 to 1972, describing the events in the community and the strong pulpit ministry which influenced the spirituality of many of us today. This cast has worked hard. They are anxious to share this story with you. So join us now as these readers take us back to 1872 on a journey of 150 years for this great church.
We welcome you this morning. We've a story to tell, a story that our ancestors have written well. For 150 Octobers have come and passed since a foundation was laid that was meant to last. Our city had been chartered only 1 year when J. N. Potts' family came to live here. A strong Baptist faith and Christian devotion, Mr. Potts was interested in spiritual promotion. Meeting Donner, Stewart, and Eastman on the town's main drag, on their way to the mill with corn in a bag. Spoke of what was on their hearts there in the street, the need of a Baptist preacher, and a good place to meet. So from this smallest beginning on a sack of corn, 4 men decided a church should be born.
Oh, the vision of those founders, fine men and true, felt establishing a church was the right thing to do. It didn't take long to hire a hall, while they looked around for a man to call. When they met each week on the second floor, over a saloon where they did the pour. For Saturday nights, there were dancing and sin. In this very same hall, they were here to worship Him. Early each Sunday, the woman came first, to check on the place and to clean up the worst. Of the debris and bottles, to arrange each pew, it was far from ideal, but they had to make do.
It was a day of rejoicing when a boat came down to these waiting Baptists in this river town, bringing William P. Walker to preach and to lead. All the Baptists uniting in a common need. In those early days, the progress was slow, but prayerful, eager people helped the church band grow. A larger hall was needed. A church would be best. Those hard-working Baptists really felt blessed with their fine brick church built in 1882 on the corner of 10th Street and 5th Avenue.
Our church bulletin, a monthly paper, was printed in the back of the town's first clothing store owned by J.H. Camac. The membership increased, and as that band grew, some left to form a mission church on 5th Avenue and 20th Street. And in just 2 years more, Central City Church was organized to add to the score.
The Baptists grew and prospered under Dr. Walker's lead, and prominent city officials turned to him in need. For the lowest pitiful drunkard and the finest man in town had utmost faith in Dr. Walker, who never let him down. When he died, every saloon was closed, his funeral to attend, honoring the man who loved the sinner, but for the sin could never stand. The semicircular memorial at Spring Hill's gate is a fitting tribute to a pastor who really did great.
Now that was quite a year
1905, none of our people are still alive who well remember Dr. Matthew L. Wood, a saintly man, strong, kindly, and good. He knew how to win souls, and he didn't mind work. There were difficult times, but he wouldn't shirk his duty to God. And the church did grow. New classes added, and missions were not slow, for both Pleasant Valley and 7th Avenue filled Huntington's need. Our town was growing too.
With our membership increasing, a larger church was needed. To the Huntington Publishing Company, the 20th Street site was deeded. And though a war was being fought, we had to look ahead. 12th Street was the corner where we were finally led. There our present church was built, an impressive structure too. We were looking of the future, and for all time this we should do. It would be hard to describe the joy filling that throng. Who met in the new church that Sunday, 1,000 strong. There was a debt, but our people were so filled with glee. Enough was pledged that first day to make our church debt-free.
Church life had more meaning in this lovely new hall. No age group was overlooked. There was leadership for all. At each Sunday service, after a hymn was sung, a portion of the service was just for the young. Dr. Wood's first message was to the little tots. He was able to teach them their do's and do-nots through Brer Rabbit stories with morals to tell. The children loved the stories, and Dr. Wood as well.
Mrs. Wood was a worker too. She traveled near and far to visit prospects, absentees, of course, by trolley car. Our people love the Woods, that's easy to understand. The church sent them in 29 to visit the Holy Land. Dr. Wood was getting older. He wanted to resign, but was persuaded always to give a little more time. Then, after 27 years of serving at his best, was called to our heavenly home for a well-earned rest.
Dr. Norman W. Cox came in 1932. He gave a good account of his willingness to do. Writing was his specialty. His published works were many, articles and several books, pamphlets aplenty. There were many innovations. An orchestra was new, deaconess, junior deacons board added, just to name a few. A popular speaker of note, he was often on the go. Through the messenger, he reached many, and through the radio. His sermons were most meaningful, and at the end, he always had a regular invitation to extend. But at the conclusion of one Sunday morning service, there was an incident which must have made him nervous. On that Sunday morning, a new believer knelt in her hat with a veil. Dr. Cox leaned forward to hear her whisper when his glasses got tangled in her veil. And now this delicate tale is quite a tale.
During Dr. Cox's time, the year was 37. The rains came down like an outburst from heaven. The river rose higher than ever before. What a flood! Our worst. And it rained some more. Our good church stood the test for times like these and became a safe haven for refugees. Sandbags were placed and pumps in use. Soup was served and first aid to ease the abuse. Proving that in time of storm and as well as sunny days, our church serves the community in many ways. Dr. Cox was an able leader, as new members would attest, and our church was free of debt and the budget at its best. Other churches were looking for a man like this, so Dr. Cox resigned in 39 for Meridian Miss.
Without too much delay, just a number of weeks, we found the kind of leader every church seeks. Ed and Harriet Willingham, plus a daughter and son, brought cheerful Christian energy for work to be done. With great emphasis on evangelism, there was a gain in our members that folks like this preacher was playing. To stimulate attendance and to reach a higher goal, the men of our church decided to start a dawn patrol.
Are you coming to church?
With activity in all areas, we seemed right in the groove. There is contentment when a church is running smooth. In higher finances too, new challenges were set, but good people responded and a larger budget met. Long before the race was an issue of the day, Dr. Ed promoted brotherhood, for kindness was his way. Other denomination, our pulpit often shared, proving one God is for all and that we care. Harriet was happy with her church work and scouts. We were happy with the willing hands. Of this there was no doubt.
With our church flourishing, prospering, and all this while, we wanted our first family to live in style. A rented house would never do, so our church did embark on purchasing a parsonage in lovely Holsway Park. A man with disability, though, really could not stop. He had to keep moving up until he reached the top. In 45, the Willinghams step up to higher things. They're an example of what talent brings. First to Washington, D.C., but that place could not stop them, for our Foreign Mission Board was looking for a top man. Visiting all around the world, every mission station, they've made lasting friendships in every state and every nation.
The Trimmers came to our church next, Maurice and Eugenia. He was a hit with his quick wit, and she had charm to win you. A man with a fabulous memory, the stories he could tell. He preached without a note and did that preaching well. He took part on many boards, both nationally and state. On civic and service clubs, this man could really rate. On every local member, Dr. Trimmer made a call. This inclusive visitation plan was continued spring and fall. FAB and Dr. T launched a great world mission crusade. A goal of 50,000 was set and in 18 months paid. Many honors came his way and from Mrs. Trimmer too. They did their utmost for our town and for Fifth Avenue. Eugenia's ability and charm was a hit on many scenes. She was president of our women's club and of Kiwanis Queens. We'll always remember Maurice for his art of reminiscing. Maybe we could hear him now. Would you care to listen?
There was a time of heartache when the Trimmers left our town. Nervous and ill was Dr. T. But you can't keep a good man down. While his light was to shine in Macon, the Barkers came to FAB. Young and vivacious and Christian, their faith was great to see. Lloyd, an Army chaplain, was discharged with a major rank. Soldiers, looking to him for courage, found many reasons to thank this man, who was no older than those of the fighting field. He was strong. When there was pressure, and for wrong would never yield, our church young folks loved him too. Thus he inaugurated family worship in homes with altars simulated to help our people keep abreast of what was being done. The news sheet, Fifth Avenue Baptist, was mailed to everyone, eager to start the building that we had long awaited. First, we must retire the church's debt, a matter less debated. The Barkers found the going rough. It wasn't long till they had enough. Our church was not meant for them. That was plain as could be. So they left us to go to Memphis, Tennessee.
Then another committee began to search for just the right man to lead our church. Judge Hereford, the chairman, said, "Let us all pray and ask God to lead us in just the right way to the man with the might to stand for the right. So the future we dream of will be in the sight." To Royal Oak they traveled, and they liked Dr. Woodrow W. Clark. On October the 1st, 1960, he began to make his mark. He had the perfect preacher's wife, lovely Louise. She was beautiful, charming, talented, and eager to please. 3 almost grown children, Pat, Barbara, and Wayne, each one excelling, each gaining in fame.
Our church stepped up the tempo, and this man knew how to change and get work done. We had action now. That the building did get underway hardly needs reviewing. A champion churchman, Woody Clark, had a masterful way of doing all those things that needed to be done, plus the courage and strength to help his people in their need. He would go to any length. As the building progressed, the activities were great to see. People rejoiced. But the critics, from them we are never free. To persevere, there were architects, all kinds of fixers, electricians, master plumbers, and cement mixers, carpenters, plasterers, floor coverers too. Busy, busy, busy everywhere, so much to do. Then one day, it was finished. Beautiful and fine. Surely this new addition would last a long, long time.
This new wing, though, made the old part look dull. And so, of course, we must renovate the sanctuary. Just painting would not do. This room was our best. The quality of workmanship should top all the rest. Guided by best church architects in all of the land, plus best fixtures and furbishing, made it look grand. And a new organ. What music, food for the soul. Our best for God, 5th Avenue, that was our goal.
The honors bestowed on our leader, the record is worth naming. We should itemize them, every one, on a placard for framing. His wise counsel was sought after for the national board. Writing lessons for the Baptist leader is another way he scored. Upgrading West Virginia as to the Baptist preacher's role, evaluating each small part to make a better whole. He has eased the plight of many at the time of death or pain. His friendships now are legion, and continually they gain, doing his best at every task. That was Woody's way, attacking every obstacle. He thinks of work as play. Those off days, though, are different. Surely there's no harm when free to make a beeline to that Virginia farm, planting, plowing, fixing up, busy every minute, wisely working out his plan, excelling to the limit. The produce really flourishes, is harvested with care. A trailer load is then hauled home so we can have a share.
A very good churchman was Ralph J. Keevan. When a need came up, he could somehow achieve it. As a decorator, too, he was able to score. His touch added beauty to our entry and more. But after 3 years, only 3 years, we could hardly believe it. Almost heaven wasn't right for the family Keevan. After readying our church for the State Baptist Convention, the Keevans departed, leaving boys well not mentioned.
Then we had Dr. R.F. Smith, Jr. 'Twas surely God's plan for this time in our church's life to have such a man. He was a wizard with people, with good programs and vision. His positive experience and wise decisions led to many phases of outreach, including Marshall University and radio activities for everyone. We watched interest grow to reach the zenith of our worth. Our future looked bright. With RF and God's help, our church would be all right.
He and his family came from Houston to lead us 15 seasons. A scholar extraordinaire, Dr. J. Allen Reasons. He had a gift for preaching and reaching out. That's what his tenure was all about. When preaching from the pulpit, this young man did excel. By the end of his time with us, Dietrich Bonhoeffer we knew well. Alan and Laurie opened our hearts to missions. An orphanage in Nicaragua was the spot, always reminding us, about us, it was not. Though leaving Fifth Avenue Baptist was not part of his vision, health issues forced this precious family to make a difficult decision.
So now the Pastoral Call Committee would be faced with a decision to find one to lead us who could continue the vision. In North Carolina, they finished their search and found Reverend Eric Porterfield to lead our church. To lead Fifth Avenue Baptist with a history storied and long, and little did they know this man could really deliver a song. Reverend Eric and wife Reverend Alicia will lead us into 151. Together with God's help, we'll get the job done.
Reviewing the first 150 years, our accomplishments were many. Young men who have entered the ministry numbered over 20. To buy Green Lake in depression years, Fab helped then. And all over mission giving, we stayed near the top 10. Facilities for telling good news are adequate for old and young. We had graded choirs, singing Christmas tree, and bells to be rung. Our future church is with our youth, camping if the thing, wholesome Christian experiences worth remembering.
Now, we begin a new century, the year 151. Can we hear our ancestors say, "Dear children, well done"? As these years of labor, are we to look back and rest? No, we must face ever forward, give the future our best. For the Lord has really blessed us. That is easy to see. We must hark to his commandments when he tells us, follow me.
So we'll now open the door on chapter 151, knowing that that victory is not really won. In this next chapter, there's a bright future ahead. We must follow in faith where our ancestors lived. So we look to tomorrow, hold the torch high. We too are making history as we go marching by. We have seen and heard the story of this church we hold so dear. Watch the magic of his blessings as we progress year by year. From a very small beginning, we have reached a goal to cheer. Our church is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Our church is marching on.
150 years we've labored, mighty feats are still to gain. Carry out his great commission, through his word we must proclaim. While we work to do him honor, here's the glory, here's the fame. Our church is marching on.
Everybody.
Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Our church is marching on.
They can't get away that quickly. I think they need to come back for another standing ovation. Come on back. Come on back. Come on back. Now, where's the green bell? Come on up here, green bell. Thank you, David, for you very much. You may be seated. Mary Beth, do you want to say anything else? I've got a few things I can do. We've got a little bit of time. Do you want to share anything right now? Okay.
Thank you for your attendance, and it was a joy to do this.
Thank you for your attendance, and they had a blast doing it.